Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here. It's time to do my full review on the latest flagship from Samsung, the Galaxy S8. And I've had ample amounts of time, hands-on time with the device, whether I was at the launch event in New York and also just been using it as my daily driver as well. And now that the Galaxy S8's out, you might want to consider picking up a used Galaxy S7. There's some good deals going on at glide.com. I'll post that link down below. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the full review. To begin, I'd like to talk about design of the Galaxy S8. And it's no question that the S8 is a very good-looking piece of hardware and probably one of my favorite-looking devices out of any phone that I've used. Just how minimal the bezels are. I personally do like the edge displays, the edges on the side. However, the edges do make it a little bit more difficult to hold, a little bit thinner on the sides, and it is noticeable when you use a phone without those edge displays. Up at the top of the device is that SIM card slot along with an expandable micro SD card slot, which is always great to see. Flipping it over down at the bottom, headphone jack, as expected, USB Type-C charging slot, microphone, and one speaker. And the speaker gets fairly loud. It's just very tinny, so it doesn't really sound good in terms of quality. I think that's attributed to that IP68 rating, which actually adds dust resistance and water resistance. So it does have some waterproofing available. On the back of the device, you do have that 12 megapixel camera along with the fingerprint scanner. I do have the new Slate Slick Wrap on this device. I can't decide if I like this one or the honeycomb one better. Either way, I will link to it down below if you're interested. On the sides here, you do have a couple volume rockers and a Bixby button. I'll talk about that in a second. And then on the right side here is the power button. And the power button's in a good spot. That Bixby button is just kind of more of a pain than anything. I'll talk about that when I get to software. On the front of the device, you have 3 soft buttons, and then up at the top, you have an 8 megapixel camera, earpiece, sensors, along with an iris scanner as well. First of all, I want to talk about that fingerprint scanner and the location, and I'm not a big fan, just like just about everyone else. Your pointer finger naturally rests about right here, which is where you would expect it to be, so you do have to adjust and move your finger up. It is quick, it is accurate most of the time, but I find that I don't necessarily rest my full fingerprint on it a lot because I have to readjust, so it does take me a couple times here and there to actually unlock it. Now, in terms of that iris scanner, I find that I pretty much never use it. I leave it on, and overall it is fairly accurate if you hold it the right way. It really doesn't matter the lighting. I found even in the dark it worked fine, but you really do need to be holding it the right way, pretty much straight up and looking at your face, which can be a little awkward when you're out in public. I do need to add that I like that Samsung added the ability to swipe down on the fingerprint scanner to actually activate those quick widgets up at the top. You can also swipe up on it as well, so I'm actually swiping down, swiping up on the fingerprint scanner to actually activate that notification tray. It's also worth noting that there is a pressure-sensitive button down at the bottom where you need to press a little bit harder. You can actually change how sensitive that is to actually turn the display on. And also when you're in full screen mode, you can press a little bit harder on that button to actually get back home without having to swipe up to activate these soft buttons down at the bottom. To show you what I mean, here's a full screen video, and instead of having to swipe up to activate that home button, you can actually just pressure touch the display, and it will actually utilize that pressure-sensitive button to take you home. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about a couple things with the display. Now, it's a 1440p Super AMOLED display. While watching a video, you do have the option to actually resize and have a crop to fit, so it does utilize that entire screen ratio. I also would like to make note that if we jump into settings very quickly, there's actually an option in terms of full screen apps to utilize that ratio so that they aren't condensed. Some apps won't actually use the full screen like that video wasn't at the beginning, but I have checked all of them and I have not run into any issues with an app not being compatible with this screen ratio. Now, the 5.8-inch display is what Samsung is calling an infinity display with those curved edges, and it is one of the most enjoyable screens to look at. It is Super AMOLED. I do prefer AMOLED over LCD personally. It does have some round corners, which is a little bit different, also on the LG G6 as well. But overall, it gets very bright outside. Absolutely no issues with that. Viewing angles are great as well. Definitely one of the best displays on a phone right now. It's also worth noting under display settings, there's some customizations you can make. You can have a blue light filter on and off for looking at the display at night. Potentially, you have screen mode options. So you have AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo, Basic, and adaptive as well. And you can change the color balance, so red, green, and blue if you would like to do so. You can also change the screen resolution. It actually does come 1080p out of the box, so if you want to utilize that display and bump it up to 1440p, you can as well. Nice little addition from Samsung. You can change that navigation bar, so you can change your home layout from back or recents if you want to flip-flop them. I like the back button being in the bottom right because I use my phone with the right hand. Anyways, you can unlock with that home button. You can change the background color of the navigation bar as well, and change the sensitivity of that home button. I find that I have it all the way down on more sensitive. That's just kind of what I found to be the sweet spot for me. Next up, I'd like to talk about battery life in the Galaxy S8. And the S8 has an embedded 3,000 milliamp hour battery, which worried me to begin with. I didn't think that'd be quite enough. It does have fast charging via USB Type-C and also wireless charging. And I've been actually utilizing this Cho-Tech wireless charger. And don't worry, the slick wrap doesn't affect the wireless charging whatsoever. And you'll see it lights up blue when not in use, and it does have power. And then when you go ahead and set your phone on, it goes ahead and fast wireless charges the device. Actually, a pretty solid wireless charger. I would recommend it. I'll link to it down below. Overall, in the Galaxy S8, I get above average battery life screen on time. You'll see 4 hours and 43 minutes right here. If I go ahead and go through some other screenshots I took at the end, you'll see 4 hours and 31 minutes right there. Let's see, there's definitely a bunch more, 4.5 hours, but you'll see it's very consistent. I can get through the day very easily. You'll see 4 hours and 57 minutes. So overall, over 4.5 hour screen on time average, which is above average for me. So I've been happy with the Galaxy S8 battery life. Next up, I'd like to talk about that 12 megapixel camera on the back and load up the camera app. It is very, very quick. Snapping pictures is extremely snappy as well. To be honest, to come right out and say it, it is one of the best cameras I have used on a smartphone before. You see you have a quick exposure control right there. HDR mode, if you jump into settings, you can change the ratio if you'd like to. You can change the video to 4K video. Now, the app's fairly simple. If you swipe over, you have options for Pro mode, which is always great to see. Slow motion, food, virtual shots. So Pro mode, you can change your aperture, focus, all that good stuff, your ISO, all over on the side here. Now, one nice little feature I've noticed is the zoom function, and it is with the shutter button. You actually can just slide up, and depending on how much you slide up or down is how fast it will zoom in. It just makes it very easy to zoom in and out without having to pinch to zoom using your hand, which you can still do, of course, but I just find it so much easier to just zoom in and out by using the shutter button up and down, and then you can snap a quick picture. Like pretty much every Samsung camera, pictures that are shot that are very colorful can turn out a little bit oversaturated, and that's pretty common. Some people like it, some people don't, but I find that even good lighting and low lighting shots turn out very good on this device. This camera handles pretty much anything I have thrown at it. Quality has been great. One of the best cameras out there right now on any smartphone whatsoever. Next up is software, and it does run Android 7.0 Nougat out of the box with their TouchWiz skin. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the Bixby button, and it makes no sense why they've really put this there. I don't know why it needed to be a button. It is integrated in their home launcher as well, and you'll see gallery today, nearby places, schedule stuff, weather, news, all that good stuff. And overall, it tells me everything that the Google app will tell me. So I don't necessarily know why they need to try and replace it. You'll see the Google app telling me news, telling me weather right out of the gate. So it's a little confusing to me. And the fact that they added a button here has just been more frustrating than anything. I feel like I've accidentally pressed this button more than I've actually wanted to press it. So you'll see I hit the power button, and you'll see if you accidentally press it, it loads up Bixby. So sometimes when I pull it out of my pocket, Bixby will be loaded up, and sometimes when I go to turn my screen off, I'll press both sides at the same time because I'm squeezing it from both sides, and I'll accidentally press that Bixby button with my thumb or my middle finger here, and it will load it on up even if the phone is locked. Luckily, at the moment of this video, you can remap the Bixby button, but sometimes Samsung may decide to override it and make it not function. So right now, if I press it and I have the app running, it's going to load up the Google Now cards, and then if I have my phone on lock and I press it, it does nothing. It will actually act as another power button and just go to my lock screen, so I don't have to worry about it loading up Bixby in my pocket, pressing on articles, so it's trying to activate the unlock button, anything like that. Software on the Galaxy S8 also allows for Samsung DeX. I'll link to my video that I have on that down below if you're interested. Now, it does have an always-on display. You'll see it shows the time, date, battery life. If you have any notifications as well, you can double tap on some of your notifications to see if you have a music song playing or a video right here. You can play and pause it, and like I said, that pressure-sensitive home button to activate the display as well. I have liked the home launcher overall. I really don't necessarily have the urge to uninstall it or install a third-party launcher. You swipe up and down to get to your app drawer anywhere on the screen, which I do like. You don't have to swipe from the bottom. You can swipe anywhere up or down, and then horizontal app drawer, which I sort alphabetically. So overall, it's been good. It does have some Edge features from just like on previous Edge devices. So you see I have some sports going on. You have some stocks, apps Edge, Smart Select, and there's a bunch of different ones, and you can customize them as well. You have people, clipboard, tasks, and as you can see, as things spill off the page with those edges, it's just one way to utilize it. And I don't utilize this apps Edge very often, but occasionally I will. A nice addition from Samsung on their software is the ability to activate specific themes. And there's a bunch of them in this theme store. I don't want to go ahead and go through all of them, but just make note that there's a good amount of them, and you can really customize your Galaxy S8 to your liking. Now, next up, there are some advanced features, and there are quite a few under this setting. To begin, there's a one-handed mode, so you can just go ahead and swipe up from the corner, and you'll see it minimizes that display. You can use it just like you would at any time, and you can tap out of it to get back into the full screen mode. If I go into multi-window, there's a couple ways to use multi-window. You can go ahead and tap the multi-window function, and let's say I want to go ahead and load up YouTube. That'll go halfway, and if I want to load up Edge panels as the other one, I can use two apps at the same time. Now I can press and hold that recent apps button to get out of it. Now, for example, I can go back into those settings and I can swipe down from the corner, and this is one of the nicer features of Samsung devices, and you have a window open and you can move it around, you can minimize it, and it minimizes into a little bubble right there. So let's say I go into the Play Store now, minimize that as well. I have a couple bubbles running, so it's just like as if I had kind of a taskbar down at the bottom with both of these apps. I can run both of them, have two windows going at the same time. Nice multitasking addition from Samsung. There's a bunch of extra features from Samsung, and honestly, I don't use many of those, such as Smart Alert, Easy Mute. I have them checked. However, I really haven't used them day to day, so I don't necessarily want to talk about them, but they are there. One final setting to talk about is under sounds, and go all the way down to the bottom, and there's a sound quality. So you have an equalizer that you can customize. So if you tap on it, pop, classic, jazz, rock, or you can change it to bass or treble, instrument, or vocal. Now down at the bottom, you can also adapt sound. So there's presets for people under 30, between 30 and 60, and over 60 as well. And you can personalize it as well to your liking. Now, I want to go ahead and go back and also talk about separate app sound. So you'll see I have Spotify going to a Bluetooth device. So I have it playing on a speaker, and then I have other audio going through my phone, so it does have that ability as well. Now, next up, I want to talk about performance and specs. And first of all, there's a game mode option. So you'll see you can go into full screen, no alerts, hard press button lock, which I would recommend turning on because I do find that I'll accidentally press in on that home button. And a couple other options, record and screenshot as well. But performance has been really great. Anything I throw at this device, it has handled with ease. Any multitasking. It seems that TouchWiz is a little bit more slimmed down than it has been, so Samsung's definitely taking notes and overall making it better. So let's go ahead and do some multitasking. So I'm going to go ahead and go home, load up the Play Store, go ahead and swipe down. If I want to go ahead and install a quick app, I can do so. Go home. Now let's go ahead and load up the calculator, do a quick calculation, 56 divided by 6, and go back home, go into Relay for Reddit, and here's the home page. Let's go ahead and take a look at this nice picture of that cute little puppy right there, and now let's go ahead and go back. So if I go back into our settings app, it will load that back up. Maybe if I want to go back down into Asphalt 8, it should work just fine. I have no issues with that 4 gigabytes of RAM. And of course, that Snapdragon 835 processor has been fantastic as well. So top of the line in terms of performance right now. Now to wrap things up, I want to go ahead and give some final thoughts on the Galaxy S8. And it is definitely one of my favorite phones out right now, for sure. I would highly recommend it to anybody. I've been very impressed with it. Even battery life with that 3,000 milliamp hour battery, I was pretty surprised at how good it is. Now that speaker quality is meh, and of course that fingerprint scanner placement could be better as well in terms of design. But overall, you really can't beat that Infinity display, how great it looks. Sides are a little bit thin, so beware of that. Overall, solid phone. Good job, Samsung. You're really going in the right direction. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that subscribe button. Lots more coverage to come soon. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.